Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod Science classes. In this lecture, we are going to discuss current affairs of 25th March 2021. In this lecture, we are going to discuss 8 articles which are very much related to UPSC. So, let's get started with our discussion and let us see first article. Title says Justice N.V. Ramana set to take over as 48th CJI. So this article mainly talking about Chief Justice of India. So this topic is very much relevant to polity, which comes under GS paper 2. So this article is important from both prelims and also from mains point of view. So if you are talking about from prelims point of view, you need to know eligibility criteria or qualifications as well as appointment and removal of this Chief Justice of India. And regarding mains, you need to see controversies regarding appointment of judges of Supreme Court. So you need to refer first judge case, second judge case, and as well as you need to talk about 99 the Constitutional Amendment Act, that is NJSC Act, etc. So that will be important regarding mains. Now let us try to understand this article in a great detail. So first we are going to see context and we are going to see some important details, and also we are going to discuss some important facts. So I want to give you a small suggestion here. We already recorded video of Supreme Court. So if you want to know in detail about appointment process, removal process of the judges of Supreme Court, please visit playlist of Polity Lakshmikant and visit this video. Okay. So if you want, I will also provide you a link regarding that video in description box also. Okay. And now let us see context first. Here CJI, that is Sharad A. Bobde, okay, has recommended N.V. Ramana, the senior most judge of Supreme Court, as next top judge, that is CJI. Okay, so now at present CJI is Bobde. So this Bobde recommended this N.V. Ramana as as CJI. Okay, so if you see some details of this article, it mainly says that Center had recently asked Chief Justice Bobde, who is going to retire on April 23rd, to initiate transition process to the top judicial office. So in this context, he recommended this Justice Ramana, okay, as top most judge. Okay, that is next to CJI. So he will be acting as a CJI for till August 26th, 2022. So he will be 48th CJI of our Supreme Court. Okay. So these are some important things that are mainly discussed in this article. And now let us see some facts regarding appointment process. So if you are talking about judges of Supreme Court and judges of High Court, they are appointed by President of India. And if you are talking about judges of district courts or subordinate courts, they are appointed by Governor of State, right? So if you are talking about appointment of especially Chief Justice of India, so since 1950 to 1973, so the practice has been to appoint senior most Supreme Court judge as CJI. But this convention has violated in year 1973. So in 1973, one famous case held, that is Keshwanand Bharati versus State of Kerala. So in that case, senior most judge, that is Justice Khanna, mainly opposed government. So because of this, he was superseded by A.N. Ray. A.N. Ray was appointed as CJI by superseding 3 senior most judges of Supreme Court. Okay. And later in 1977 also, M.U. Beg was appointed as CJI by superseding the then senior most judge of Supreme Court. Okay. So these are two incidents. We went for violation of convention of appointing senior most judge of Supreme Court as CJI. And now let us see what are qualifications that need to be fulfilled. Okay, so if you are talking about qualification, he should be a citizen of India and should have been judge of High Court for 5 years, and he should have been an advocate of High Court for 10 years, and he should be a distinguished jurist in opinion of President. So these are some important required qualifications. And if you see tenure here, our constitution has not fixed the tenure of judges of Supreme Court. Okay, he can remove from office by President on recommendations of Parliament. So here you need to refer about removal process here. Okay, and if you are talking about judges of Supreme Court, they mainly hold office until they attain age of 65. In case of High Court, they will attain age till 62 years. Okay, and next one is they can resign is office by writing to president. So this will be important prelims fact. So these are some important things that you should remember, and you have to refer about judges of Supreme Court and as well as judges case and as well as collegium and also 99 Constitution Amendment Act, that is NJSC Act. So this will be important regarding mains point of view. We already recorded video on this Supreme Court in our polity lecture series. Please go and watch that video for sure to understand this topic in a comprehensive manner. And now let us see next article. Title says double mutant virus variant found. So this article mainly talking about mutant virus, okay, mutant COVID-19 virus. So why it is special? Because in India we saw there are 2 mutations that happened in this COVID-19 virus. So this article is important regarding health and as well as even science and technology, which comes under GS paper 2 and GS paper 3. And this article will be important regarding prelims point of view. And now let us try to discuss this article in a great detail. So this article mainly talking about double mutant coronavirus variant. So if you see context, it mainly says that a unique double mutant coronavirus variant with a combination of mutations not seen anywhere else in world. So now we found that in India. So India is also special for coronavirus, okay. So we are seeing double mutant coronavirus variant in India. So if you see some details regarding this article, it mainly says that it is still to be established that if this has any role to play in increased number of cases. So as we know, we are facing second wave, okay, second wave or second spike of this corona cases now. So we need to analyze whether it is an important reason that is leading to increased number of cases of COVID-19 or not. So this is first important thing we need to see. And second one is, if you are talking about this Indian SARS coronavirus 2 consortium, or it is also called as Genomics in SACOG. So it is consortium of about 10 laboratories across the country. They also revealed that presence of two mutations. They include E484Q. Next one is L452R. So this type of two mutations are seen across 200 samples. They are collected from Maharashtra, Delhi, Punjab and Gujarat. So these are some important details. And if you see what are issues here. So issues here is there may be some combined effect and also biological implementation. They are to be studied. So if at all these variations that are happen in these two mutations, so whether this has some effect on biological implementation, biological implications or effect of this coronavirus vaccine. So we need to study that at. So if you are talking about other variants of this SARS coronavirus 2 globally, they have been also associated with reduction in vaccine efficacy. So we need to study about whether these mutant virus they are showing any reduction of this vaccine efficacy or not. Okay, and they are mainly labeled under variant of concern. Okay, so these are some issues regarding this virus. And now let us see some facts regarding this GISAID, which is said in this article. So if you are talking about GISAID, it mainly stands for Global Initiative on Sharing All Influenza Data. So it is mainly a public platform, and this public platform started by WHO, that is World Health Organization, not now but in 2008 itself. Okay, so this is a public platform which started by World Health Organization in year 2008 that will be helpful for countries to share genomic sequences of this influenza virus. So in this way, this GISAID, it mainly promotes international sharing of all influenza virus sequences and also related some clinical and as well as epidemiological data also. So in this way, this platform will be very helpful for international sharing of information regarding influenza or influenza related any clinical or epidemiological data. That means how many people they are affected, so what will be the different symptoms that are saying, so if at all there is alteration or new symptoms are found, so if at all any genetic variation are seen, so they will be every data regarding this influenza that will be shared with all countries to this GISAID. Okay, and this mainly associated with human viruses and also geographical as well as some species specific data will also be provided in this platform. Okay, and this GISAID mainly associated with avian and as well as other animal virus. So what will be significance? So if you're talking about significance, it will help mainly to understand how virus is evolving, how changes are happening in virus, how people are responding to that virus, so everything, and how this virus which is growing as a pandemic. So in this way, this information which is provided in this public platform will be very much helpful to understand how this virus is evolving, how this virus is transmitting from one person to another person, okay, and how it is evolving as a pandemic. So everything will be understand clearly, and it will also promote some developments of novel research tools in this influenza also, okay. So this is about this article. And now let us say next article. Title says Arctic warming is causing heat waves in India according to one study. So recently this study published in one important journal, it mainly says that the reason for heat waves in India, it is mainly due to Arctic warming. Okay, so this article is important regarding geography, which comes under GS paper 1, and you have to know about what is this Rossby waves. Okay, so as we know, jet stream are moving, right? So whenever this jet stream are moving, whenever they are moving in a wavy fashion, so those are called as Rossby waves. To understand this concept, you have to know about this Rossby waves for sure. Okay, so now let us try to understand this article in a great detail. So this article mainly talking about one important thing, that is Arctic warming. So as we know, we have globe, and here we have equator, and here we have polar region in north and also south. In south we have Antarctica, and in northern pole area we call it as an Arctic region. So because of Arctic warming, so whatever polar jet stream that is flowing in this area, so that will be affected, and because of that will be also having effect on subtropical jet stream. So as we know, there is also one important jet stream, that is tropical westerly jet stream. Okay, sorry, tropical easterly jet stream. So normally this jet stream, they will flow from west to east, and we have one jet stream that will flow from east to west, that is tropical easterly jet stream. So because of these jet streams, they are also moving above India. Okay, so we are having some influence of that jet stream on heat waves on India. Okay, so this is about this study. And now let us try to understand this article in a great detail. So if you see context here, so recent study published in reputed British journal, it mainly says that because of Arctic warming, which is never before, because of this Arctic warming, which is alarming rate, with temperature increasing more than twice as fast as global average. So in this Arctic warming, which is very fast, and it has been twice, okay, and it is also very fast as global average. So because of this Arctic warming, we can see it has influence on heat waves, okay, in India especially. So in India, because of heat waves with excessively hot weather and also accomplished with high humidity. So why we can see high humidity? So if you're talking, if there is any water is present, so let me draw this. So if we have water here, so because of sun here, because of high temperature, okay, we can see, because of insolation, we can see there is high temperature here. So whenever high temperature that is seen on surface of water here, so because of increase in temperature, it will be vaporized. So what happened? Water vapor will be moving upside. So to understand this, I will give you a general example. So if you are taking water in any beaker and you started heating that, then what happened? Water will be converted into water vapor, and water vapor will move upside. So in the same manner, whenever there is high temperature here, so water present in the surface of water that get heated because of high temperature, and it will start moving upside, right? Okay. So because of this, whenever we are seeing there is high temperature, so we can also see there is high humidity over this water surface areas. Okay. So because of heat waves and excessive hot weather, it also accomplished by high humidity. For example, if you are going to coastal areas, if you are moving in any beach in summer season, so you will be feeling like very much sweaty and sticky. Your skin will be sticky because of high humidity, high amount of water percentage that is seen across our atmosphere. So because of this high humidity and as well as heat waves and also hot weather accomplished during summer season of April and May here. So these are important reasons that led into increased causing of unpredicted number of deaths across our country in our recent years. So in recent years, we are seeing there is increased deaths because of this heat waves. So why? Why? Because of increased surface temperature as a result of global warming. So it has some large connection to deadly Indian heat waves. So because of increase in temperature, that is leading to increased Arctic warming. So because of Arctic warming increasing, that is also leading to increased heat wave like conditions in India. That is leading to increased death cases of heat waves in India. So what are important causes? So here causes is, first one is about this Indian heat waves. So we need to understand one theoretical mechanism. So this theoretical mechanism is linked to this Indian heat waves. So that is QRA, that is quasi-resonant amplification. So now let us try to understand what is this quasi-resonant amplification. So this will be important for prelims. In prelims, you can expect a question like, recently quasi-resonant amplification is in news. What it is related to? So in this way, you can expect prelims question. So now let us try to understand what is this quasi-resonant amplification. So if you see about this quasi-resonant amplification, it is mainly caused by Rossby waves or jet streams. Okay. So in specific locations of India, so this Rossby waves have influenced. So because of this, they are creating some high pressure cells that is leading to sinking motion. Okay, and there is increasing surface temperature drastically. So this is one of important cause for increasing surface temperature that is causing to heat waves here. So if you are talking about this Rossby waves, so whenever this jet streams they are moving in a wavy pattern, so this is called as Rossby waves. Commonly we can see polar jet stream, here subtropical jet stream is present, and we have one important jet stream, that is tropical easterly jet stream, that is present, and also we have subtropical jet stream and polar jet stream. So we have totally two subtropical jet streams and two polar jet streams, and we have one tropical easterly jet streams. So this jet stream play an important role even in our Indian monsoons also. Okay. So this is about this article. And if you see what can be done, what is need? The need here is we need to go for planned mitigation for this very adverse climate change as soon as possible. So whenever we are not taking any mitigation action or any plan here, so finally it will leads to increased condition of heat waves. So whenever heat waves are increasing, that will leads to increase in death cases in India. So this is gist of this article, and this article is very important whenever you are writing your mains answer. And now let us see next article. Title says Supreme Court flags concern over misuse of electoral bonds. We discussed about this electoral bonds number of times in our Hindu analysis. So we are not going to discuss basics about this electoral bonds now. We are going to see what is written in this article, why Supreme Court is concerned about this electoral bonds. So this article is important regarding GS paper 2 under polity. So as we know, background of this article here is, so recently one PIL filed in Supreme Court mainly to stall electoral bonds issuance in this assembly elections like West Bengal and as well as the Tamil Nadu, etc. Right? So because of this electoral bonds, it is highly in news, and you can expect a prelims based questions from this electoral bonds in upcoming prelims for sure. So now let us try to understand this article in a great detail. We are going to see context and as well as some important details, and we will also see process of this electoral bonds. Okay, and if you see context, it mainly says that Supreme Court flagged its concerns that political parties could misuse crores of rupees mainly received as donations through electoral bonds. So whatever donations are received by these political parties through these electoral bonds, that can be misused by these political parties. So it is one important cause of concern raised by Supreme Court. So in this context, we need to see about one important question. So question here is whatever money, okay, if there is any political party, it is receiving money from electoral bonds. So for example, let us take it is receiving about 100 rupees 100 crore. So one question mainly arises here is whether this 100 crore that is used by this political party just for political purpose or not. So what is guarantee that this political party use this money for even terrorism activities? So there is also chances like this political parties for its gain. it will also use that money which is funded under this electoral bonds to other purposes, other activities, other terrorism like activities, like. So what is guarantee here? So in this way, Supreme Court mainly expressing its concern regarding this electoral bonds. And now let us see some facts regarding this electoral bonds. So these electoral bonds are notified by some banks. Okay, it is as of now it is notified by SBI. SBI Bank will provide this electoral bonds, and it will issue this electoral bonds, and finally donors who want to buy, they will go to bank and they will buy this. Either they can go for check or by digital payment, and party and political party deposits that bond in account, and they need to be redeemed by within 15 days. Okay, so this is about process of this electoral bonds. And now let us see next article. Title says define unfair trade practice for e-commerce. So if you're talking about e-commerce nowadays, we with increase in net in our life, so we are going for this digital payments and as well as online booking for everything. So even if you want groceries or vegetables, we are opening our mobile and we are opening some e-commerce apps and we are booking for those, right? For example, we have many e-commerce platforms like Flipkart is there, Amazon is there. We have many things that are coming newly, right? So because of this e-commerce world is increasing, now we need to know about what is this unfair trade practices. That means if we have going for one site here, so they are providing lots of amounts of offers here. For example, they will provide 50% off, 60% off, so and so. If you see another platforms, they might provide 10% or 5% discount. So whenever we are using 2 or 3 platforms which are providing e-commerce, so whenever which platform which is providing a large amount of discounts, we are going for opting that, right? For example, if you take one platform, it is providing 50% off on so and so product, and if you are searching same product in other e-commerce, it is providing just 5% of discount. So in this way, which e-commerce you are going to choose? Obviously we are going to take this item or this product from this platform which is providing high amount of discount, right? So because of this, what happened, many of people, they are attracted towards this e-commerce such that will not provide level playing field for another e-commerce. So in this way, we need to go for what is this unfair trade practice. We need to come up with clear definition of this unfair trade practices. What will all comes under this unfair trade practice regarding this e-commerce? So this is about this article. And now let us try to understand this article in a great detail. So this article mainly focusing on unfair trade practice. So if you see context, what is this? A parliamentary panel has recommended that the government should offer a more clear-cut definition. So what all comes under this unfair trade practices and spell out practical legal remedy to tackle issue. First, we need to come up with what is this unfair trade practice. So what all will come under this unfair trade practices? If there is any violation here, so what need to be done? Okay, if there is any violation, what need to be done? Okay, so what is punishment, everything, what are some legal remedies that to become? So all these to be come here. So this is about this parliamentary panel recommended all these things. And as well as some companies or some e-commerce sites, they are also having this predatory pricing. So what is this predatory pricing? Let us take one product. So in one e-commerce, it is about 1000 rupees, and another platform is also showing 1000 rupees. But this platform which is providing 50% discount on it, so it is providing that product for 500 rupees, and it is giving 5% of discount, and it is giving this product for 995 rupees. Okay, so actually if you are seeing or if you are referring different websites or different sites of this e-commerce, you find that the same product which is available just 500 rupees in this. So because of this, what happened, large number of consumers, they are attracted to this site and they will order this product. So in this way, here the trade of this e-commerce 2 platform will be affected. So this type of pricing and providing large amount of discounts, that will mainly comes under this predatory pricing. Okay. So in this context, our parliamentary panel also recommended about what we need to do regarding this predatory pricing, because it may result in competition being wiped out. Okay, so if at all we have 2 or 3 e-commerce platforms are present, but whenever we are providing large amount of discounts, we are eliminating this in competition. So this one only will be seen in okay, seen in all mobiles, right? So because of this we can easily go for elimination of competition. So this is one important issue that need to be addressed. So if you see some details regarding this article, it mainly says that according to Consumer Protection E-Commerce Rules 2020, which tabled in Parliament, and also recommended for fixing a cap on delivery charges levied by e-commerce. So if you are taking same example here, so cost here is 500 and cost here is 995. So for example, this e-commerce platform which is mainly showing that 100 rupees for delivery charges, and it is showing that just 50 rupees delivery charges. So in this way, finally we need to also keep cap on how much delivery amount or how much delivery charges that to be levied by e-commerce. And these recommendations also include penal provisions that need to be taken whenever there is violation of rules, okay, regarding misinformation. And next one is new forms of untrade practices. What are these new forms? So how can we address those new forms of this trade practices, and if at all there is any violation of this privacy or issues regarding unattended grievances, what need to be done? We need to also come up with solution regarding this problem. And also if you are talking about predatory pricing, it is a short-term strategy. It is mainly adopted by some of market giants. They want to sustain short-term losses, and as well as they want to reduce the prices for their products below average variable cost here. That will also lead to removal or wiping out of competition in that area. So in this way, what is need? The need here is mainly we need to go for clear-cut definition of unfair trade practices. We need to go for practical remedy to tackle such circumventing practices, and we need to go for cap on highest limits of delivery charges, and as well as we need to go for drip pricing. That means final cost of product should not go up certain additional charges. So what to be final charges? So these all are some recommendations which are given, and we need to come up with each and everything in a very great detail, mainly to regulate this e-commerce platforms. Okay, so this is gist of this article. And now let us see next article. So before seeing this article, I want to make a small announcement on this platform. So if you are preparing for UPSC 2022, so we came up with excellent course, that is current affairs package along with mains answer writing practice. And this course is very useful for students who want to attempt UPSC 2022. But why? So before exam, you need to know about at least 1.5 years current affairs. So if you are joining this course now, then it will be very helpful to clear 1.5 years current affairs for sure. Okay, and there is no need of searching for another alternative for current affairs. We will be providing daily current affairs PDF. We will be providing weekly current affairs session and weekly prelims practice test along with video solutions, and we also provide you editorials PDF. Okay, and mains answer writing practice is very important in this, because many students who are especially freshers, they ignore importance of this answer writing practice, and finally they end up in failing in UPSC mains. UPSC mains is very difficult to clear because within 3 hours you need to answer 20 to 22 questions. So on average you will get just 7 to 8 minutes for one question. So in this 7 to 8 minutes you need to understand the demand of question. You need to come up with framework in your brain, and finally you have to keep that framework on paper. And to do all this within limited time, you need a lot of practice. So we will provide you practice of questions. I will provide you daily one main question and one essay on Sundays, such that whatever answers, whatever essays you are writing, we are going to evaluate those and we will provide you feedback. Okay. And if you want to join this course, if you want to contact me, you can contact me on this number 8074765513. Okay, you can call to me and you can directly talk to me also regarding this course. Okay, details of this course are given in description box, so please visit that once without any fail. And now let us see next article. Title says tactical abstination. So this article is mainly talking about UNHRC. So we already discussed background regarding this article. Recently UNHRC came up with one resolution whether to go for investigation in Sri Lanka regarding war crime. So this war crime between two groups, first one is Sinhalese majority group and as well as LTTE and as well as other Tamilian minority people. Okay, so regarding this HRC voting that held in UNHRC. Okay, so in this voting, what are steps were taken by India? That mainly discussed in this article. And now let us try to understand that in a great detail. So context here is voting that held in United Nations Human Rights Council regarding war crime. So this resolution, which is mainly brought up by UNHRC, that is whether we need to go for investigation regarding this war crime in Sri Lanka or not. So India mainly took one stand, that is abstaining from vote. India didn't go for voting, okay, regarding this UNHRC resolution on Sri Lanka. So in this context, whenever India which is abstained from voting of this UNHRC, so it mainly signals its unwillingness to upset its neighbor. And if you are talking about China, China said that no, there is no need of investigation, because China and Sri Lanka, they had good relationship, right? And if you say, author mainly says that more reasonable assessment that would be taken by India. Okay, India need to be utilize this opportunity to preserve diplomatic space, and as well as it will helps to contain some perseverance influence of China in Sri Lanka. So if you are talking about Sri Lanka here, recently Sri Lanka came out of this tripartite agreement between India, Japan regarding East Container Terminal Port in Colombo, right? So because of that, we can also take revenge like that thing. So mainly author said here, okay. In this same way, we can also support this Tamil minority people who are living in Sri Lanka. Mainly this will be helpful to achieve equality, justice, dignity and as well as peace in Sri Lanka. So if central government will go for yes, we need to go for investigation regarding this war crime, then it will deteriorate relationship between India and Sri Lanka. So whenever relationship between India and Sri Lanka which is deteriorating, so this space will be occupied by China, and China want to increase its presence in Indo-Pacific region also. So in this way, so whenever we are going for this voting, it will be like a deteriorating relationship between India and Sri Lanka. And next one is whenever we are not going for voting here, no, then we can maintain some good relation. So in this way, when we are going for pragmatism, that is whenever we are going for practical solution, and we are also taking into account principles here, so Central mainly chosen this abstention as a easy way out regarding this voting of UNHRC. So this is gist of this article. And now let us see next article. Title says adding coal to the fire. So this article is very important regarding environment and ecology point of view. So this article mainly talking about recent Adani's Carmichael coal project. So regarding this coal project, Australia government is supporting and as well as Indian government is supporting, and this Adani group went for international banks for finance of this project, but no bank which is given access, or with these banks mainly denied access to this financial credit for this Adani's group because of they know about some environmental concerns. But now India's SBI mainly planning to give some loans for this Adani project here. So in this context, author mainly says that this Adani's coal project will generate jobs, but significantly it will impact health and environment. So this article mainly talking about an economy which is related to environment and ecology. So in this type of analytical questions that you can expect in mains for sure. So now let us try to understand this article in a great detail. So if you see, this article mainly talking about Adani Carmichael coal project. So here I try to attach one map. So this map says about coal reserves across world. So we have coal reserves in this North America, and we have large amount of coal reserves in Russia and even in this area of Asia, and also we can see some coal reserves in South America, and as well as even Africa and also Australia. So in Australia now we are going for this coal mining in this Queensland, which is located here. So in this place we are going to have this coal mining now. Okay, you have to remember this map for sure. So if you see context here, it mainly says that so this Adani's Carmichael coal project, it is one of world's largest new coal investment. So this investment, it is accounts about $16.5 billion, okay, in Queensland, which is located in this Australia. So if you are going ahead with this project, despite of coal which is declining competitiveness, it mainly raised concerns. So nowadays every country which is mainly moving towards renewable energy sources, right, they want to remove this non-renewable resources, because these non-renewable resources that are mainly leading to some environmental concerns. So mainly to decrease climate change or air pollution or global warming, we need to shift towards this renewable energy. So even many countries, they are focusing on carbon neutrality also, right? So even India is also focusing to achieve this carbon neutrality, but now we came up with this project here. So because of this article mainly talking about some concerns regarding this project. And if you see this new coal investments, they are viable only because they are supported by Australian subsidies and as well as incentives from Australian government side. So if you are talking about gains and losses regarding this project, so whenever we are going for coal mining projects, they provides income for local economy of Australia for sure. It will provide employment opportunities for people for sure. But we can also see there is bad impact on health and also environment, because whenever we are going for combustion of this coal, that will leads to net losses for world here, because that will leads to carbon dioxide emissions. So this carbon dioxide is one of important contributor for climate change. So if you're talking about some data regarding this carbon dioxide emissions, about 36 billion metric tons that is released globally in 2019. So out of this 36 metric billions of carbon dioxide, 40% that is coming from coal itself. Okay, and if you're talking about this mine here, that is Carmichael mine. So this mine, it is said to become Australia's largest mine, and it is going to produce about 60 million tons of coal annually, and it has some reserves of about 2.3 billion tons that can be extracted over 60 years of lifespan. So if you're talking about this coal which is coming from this Carmichael mines, so it is of great and good quality of coal we can see here. So because of this, India also one of primary importer of this coal. So if you're talking about Australian coal mining and as well as coal exports, they generate income and as well as job when they are going for this coal mining of this. But if you're talking about from environment impacts, so it will cause destructions of environment from pollution. It will also lead some bad effects that leads to soil erosion, and also that leads to biodiversity loss in that area. And we can also see some environment and social damage from burning of coal. That will be 4 times more than when you are compared to that of this price of this coal. So if you're talking about impact here on India especially, coal contributes 1 lakh premature deaths annually. And if you're talking about price of coal, it is decreasing, but mines may be unable to generate sufficient revenue to get return on investments here. So because of this, whatever project or whatever investment now it is making by this Adani group, that might be not viable. Okay, because about 17 international banks, they declined the fund or giving loan to this Adani group here because on weak finances, because whatever investment that is made by this group on that coal mine, that will be not viable because there is decreasing of price of coal. Okay, and it's also causing some danger to our environment. So because of this, now SBI plan to provide some financing under scrutiny to this Adani group. Okay, and even Australian Institute mainly points out that whenever we are going for this coal minings, it will have some spillover harm, mainly from extraction as well as burning of coal, that not included in true cost of this coal projects. And this Australian institutes also point out that the damage mainly caused to health alone in Australia, that will contribute to $2.6 billion annually. Okay, so in this way, whenever we are going for mining, it will also leads to releasing of emissions, particularly particulate matter will be released into environment, that will contribute mainly to heart disease. So because of this, it will cost around $2.6 billion annually in Australia itself. And if you're talking about this mining, about 79 million tons of annual emissions that will be released. Okay, so this is mainly equivalent of more than 75 million tons of released by Malaysia and 76 million tons released by Austria here. So in this way, it will cumulatively emit and as well as estimated about 705 million tons of carbon dioxide every year. So in this way, it will be increasing carbon dioxide emissions of Australia by 1.3 times. Okay, but if you're talking about already which are impacts facing by Australia, they include heat waves, bushfires and intense rainfall that is seen in Australia. So these are mainly linked to climate change. So because of this, whenever Australia which is going for this type of projects, so regarding this, there will be some serious concerns that are faced. Okay, if you're talking about India, India, it is drawing up plans for carbon neutrality. Not only India, many countries across the world, they are coming up with this carbon neutrality by 2050, and they want to achieve this zero carbon target here. Okay, so when we want to achieve this zero carbon target, we require vast amount of investments in production, storage, distribution of renewable energy, etc. So for example, if you are talking about Adani, it is mainly given approval by Indian as well as Australian government. And when we are exporting or when we are importing coal, okay, when we are importing coal to India, so it make far reaching targets that to achieve will be very hard and very difficult from Indian side. So now it is time for India as well as Australia to leave coal underground rather than going for mining. So this is gist of this article, and today's mains question is also based on this topic, and try to write that answer. And now let us see next article. Title says water, the looming frontier. So this article mainly talking about fresh water sources. So as we know, we are having number of freshwater sources, like we have springs, we have rivers, and we have freshwater lakes, etc. So those are very important source of drinking water across world and as well as even in India. So what happened, because of we are mainly releasing untreated sewage water, and we are also releasing some industrial waste. So because of this, what happened, they become most polluted water. Okay, so whatever surface water that we have now, for example, if you are talking about river Ganga, if you are talking about river Yamuna, these are most polluted rivers, right? So what happened, whenever we are releasing some sewage waste without any treatment, now we are facing this COVID-19. Okay, so COVID-19 cases are increasing day by day. So whenever we are releasing this untreated effluents into that rivers, what happens, so this human waste, the stools of humans, they mainly contain some virus particles. So without treating that sewage, and whenever we are releasing into those water bodies, now water bodies will also contain some components of this virus are present. Okay, so this article mainly says that, so without treating of this water, whenever we are taking, there is also risk of transmission of this virus from water to people here. Okay, so those virus which can be transmitted from water to human are called as astrovirus. For example, we have hepatitis A. For example, we have norovirus here. Okay, so these are some important things which are mainly said. So in this way, whenever we want to go for fresh water, so fresh water across world are mainly seen in two water sources. So first one is water which is present in forest, underground water in forest, and second important thing is water which is present in flood plains. Okay, so in these two areas only we can see this fresh water. So whatever fresh water we are seeing now, that can be conserved for ourselves and as well as for our future generation. So this is about some background regarding this article. And now let us try to discuss this article in a great detail. So if you see context, it mainly says that Niti Aayog and WaterAid, they found that about 70% of India's surface water and groundwater, they are contaminated by human and other waste. Okay, so they are mainly likely to carry viruses also. If you see what are reasons, the reasons here is indiscriminate human activity. Because of that, we are seeing some environment degradation and as well as spread of pandemics here. And there is also practice of leaping animals locked together for mass production of meat, that will be also provide some artificial environment. So in this artificial environment, that is leading to causing some mutations. So these mutations are mainly seen in this virus also. So earlier, if you are comparing with these animals, they are used to live very far away from humans. So now if there are any forest here, we are going for deforestation, and in this area we are going for agriculture here, right? So whenever we are going for agriculture here, because of deforesting or because of cutting down of forest here, so habitat of these animals will be becoming small. So because of this, and habitats of these animals which is becoming small, so they will not get proper prey. So because of that, they started coming out of their habitats and they are coming towards near human settlements. So whenever humans and as well as animals, they are coming in contact, that led to spread of virus from animals to humans, that is leading to pandemics nowadays, right? So in this way, if you are talking about source of virus, so recent study of wastewater in England and as well as Wales, Scotland, they found that they are carrying some traces of this SARS coronavirus too. And we can also see some remnants in raw sewage water across Sydney here. So if you are talking about India, we are releasing this sewage water into these water bodies directly without any treatment. Okay, so in this way, whatever water bodies like river water or lake water, they are mainly carrying human waste, sewage, and as well as even toxic waste. So because of this, they are acting as a generous grounds for virus mutations here. And even some of the virus, they can be transmitted from water. They are called astrovirus like hepatitis A and as well as norovirus. So huge section of population in India mainly uses polluted water. They are taking from sources like rivers, lakes and groundwater. So whatever water they are taking from this, they might be also having some viruses here. So even now, government it is mainly providing some drinking water in rural areas, and it came up with one important mission like Jal Jeevan Mission or Nal Se Jal Mission. So under this Nal Se Jal Mission, important aim is to provide drinking water connections to every rural households by 2024. So as we know, whatever rivers, whatever lakes which are present, they are already contaminated. So when we want to provide safe drinking water to rural households, we need to go for purification of water. So mainly to purify that water, we need to use reverse osmosis. So whenever we are using reverse osmosis, it will remove some healthy minerals and as well as nutrients which are very much required for human body, that will be removed. So what will be solution? The solution here is there is no technological substitute for living this natural resources, or like in pristine natural water and natural soil. So whatever pristine natural soil, natural water is present, there is no technological substitute. So by using any technology, we cannot bring that purity here. So we need to conserve and we need to use whatever natural resources are present here. So as of now, we can see fresh water in two sources. First one is water beneath our forest, and as well as water which is present in flood plains. Okay, so in these areas we can see fresh water. Finally, we need to go for safeguarding of those resources, and we need to use very judiciously for to save that water for our future generations also. Okay, so these sources mainly provide natural underground storage, and they are renewable also. So whenever we are getting rainfall, these sources will be renewable. Okay, what we need to do here is we need to reserve them, and we need to declare them as water sanctuaries, and we need to provide them for our use and as well as for our future generations. So this is gist of this article. It is such a good article that you should read. Okay, and now let us see today's main question. Adani's Karkanial coal project will generate jobs but significantly impact health and environment. Critically analyze. So keyword here is critically analyze. That means you need to write both positives and as well as negatives. So try to write answer within word limit, that is 150 words. So by this we are concluding today. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to like, share and comment my videos. And don't forget to enroll current affairs package. Thank you so much.